Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Gemara shiur, Maseches Shabbos shiur. We are in Daf Kuf Chaf Daled Amud Beis in the Mishnah. We're going to discuss today the topics of Muktzeh and Noilod. Are you or are you not allowed to use a broken keli on Shabbos? There's the vessel that broke before Shabbos, during Shabbos, and the question is, are you allowed to use that broken that broken piece for something else, for a different kind of use? Yes or no, maybe so. We're going to see this now in the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, Kol kelim anitolin b'Shabbos, all kelim that are allowed to be moved around in Shabbos, meaning kelim that are not muktzeh. Think of a bowl, let's say a salad bowl. Shivrei nitolin imoin. The broken pieces can also be taken, can be schlepped. The word imohen, many Rishonim don't hold of. It has nothing to do here, the Choyra. It just says that if there's a kli that you can move around, so too its broken version, the broken pieces of the same kli, once it breaks, can also be schlepped around. As long as they do any type of melacha, any type of melacha, which means even if the broken piece does not do the same type of melacha that the original kli did, still you can schlep it and carry it and use it on Shabbos. Which means if it's too small, let's say you have a glass bowl and the glass pieces, the shrapnel, the very tiny pieces, they're not good for anything. So then you're not allowed to move. Of course, if it's dangerous, it says in Halacha you're allowed to move them to avoid danger. But other than that, there's nothing you can do, then it's not good, you can't use it. Now, however, let's take the examples of the Mishnah. Shivra Reva, Lechasas Ben, Piachovis. Let's say you have the broken pieces of an areva. Areva is a bowl for kneading the dough. That's the real purpose. Now, that bowl broke. You're allowed to take the broken pieces and cover with them the piachovis, to cover with them the top of a barrel. It's a very different use. The Ritva says it's an opposite use. This was meant to be a receptacle to accept. Now it's being on top. Still, that's allowed. I can move from one shimush to the other shimush quite smoothly, and it's not called muktzeh. Everything will be explained. I'm not explaining the whys and the whats, just the facts for now. Now, shivris chuchis, lechasas ben piapach, shivris chuchis. Let's say you have broken glass, pieces of glass that are broken, but not smashed to smithereens, but rather you have big pieces of glass that used to once be part of a glass bowl. Lechasas ben piapach. You're allowed to take them and cover with them the pach, nes pach Hashem and Chanukah, to cover with them the top of the jug. Very nice. Now continues the Mishnah to another opinion. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. Rabbi Yehuda oimer bilvad shiu oisin men melach ton. No, they're only considered non-muktzeh as usable and movable on Shabbos only if they can still maintain the broken pieces, can still do something similar to the original malacha. Then they're not called nolad and not called muktzeh. For example, shivra reva lotzuk lesoichon mikpa. Let's say you have the broken pieces of the dough bowl, the bowl of the dough, and now those broken pieces you want to pour into them mikpa. Mikpa is like thick broth or thick soup, which is similar to the dough. That's okay, because the shimush is similar. Let's say you have pieces of glass that in its days of glory was proper glass or a bowl. Now you want to pour into them oil of Chanukah. Then it's okay, because you're still using it for a similar use. Therefore, it's not noilod and not muktzeh. I just translated. I don't want to waste your time because the Gemara will explain everything. Okay? 1 second. Excuse me. Basically, let's summarize the Mishnah. Apologize, by the way, the shiur broke. The shiur stopped short before the end. Not my fault. It's again the Wi-Fi. But basically, let's summarize the Mishnah. The Mishnah says as follows: if you have a broken kli, and those broken pieces are still usable for something, according to Tanakama, as long as usable for any kind of something, it's already not muktzeh. According to Rabbi Yehuda, only if the broken pieces can be used for the original or similar to the original use, then they are good, they're not nola, they're not muktzeh. Now it's time for the Gemara. Zog the Gemara. And I want to just make it clear again, the shiur is for the Ilun Neshama of my father, Menachem and Akiva, and for the Nishma of Osho Deutsch, and of for the safety of all the hostages should come back home soon. Amar Vidam Shmuel. Machlokes, says the Amoira of Yudah, when there is an argument about what? About Machlokes, about whether it has to be the original use or not. Shenishberu me'erev Shabbos. Let's say that, let's take an example, we'll stick to it. You have a kli made out of, wood, a salad bowl. A salad bowl made out of wood, right? There are such things, okay? You bought it in Ikea, and now it broke Erev Shabbos. Okay, Erev Shabbos it broke, here's the machlokes. The mal sovar me'en melachton in, me'en melocha acheres loy, right? Which means, says says Rabbi Yehuda, only if from Erev Shabbos they can do the original melocha, then it's called a kli and not nolad. But melocha acheres, it is completely muktzeh. Let me explain in the light of the Ritva. Let me ask you as follows. Yeah, when a person, let's say, actually, I know a guy that it happened to, or a lady he was employing a lady, and she was like a secretary, something very simple. And then he realized she's a big artist, so he switched her jobs, and she became like an art director in the company. Yeah. So what happens then? Do you stop her work agreement and you write a whole new contract, or she comes back to work the next day with a little bit of changes? In other words, when things change jobs, or when Kalim change their job, their purpose, do we say as follows? Says Rav Yehuda, when a kli broke and it used to be now a bowl, and now all it can do, this bowl that's broken cannot accept any liquids. It can only be a kisui. So what happens to that? Even if it happened on Friday, it becomes a non-entity, because now it stopped its original contract, its original purpose. Now it's a nothing. Only when you will mefurish use it again as a cover, or maybe say this should be the cover, l'shem yichud, then it becomes a cover. But if on Friday it broke and you never yet used it for the new usage of the cover, and before it was a bowl, it's now in no man's land. And a kli that's in no man's land is a piece of, excuse my language, garbage. It's like stones and sticks. That's the logic of Rabbi Yehuda and the Mishnah according to this. Umar Sovar, right? Umar Sovar afilu men melocho acheres. What does that mean? The other opinion says no. Men melocho acheres. Says Tanakama, no. As long as the kli it started as a salad bowl, it broke. The second it breaks, and it can potentially be a cover, it becomes a cover. The move is very swift and very easy. It automatically becomes from one to the other, even without you doing yichud. It's not like a stone from the park that you have to be miyachid to become a kli. Like Muktzeh machmas gufa. It was a kli and stays a kli. This lady was a secretary. Tomorrow she'll come back, the same thing exactly, the art director, just more money at the end of the month. It's the same thing. You keep the job in a different way. Ava, that's machlokes. Ava nishberu b'Shabbos, but if they broke on Shabbos, divra kol mutorin. If they broke on Shabbos, everyone agrees that as long as there's any kind of use on Shabbos, and on Erev Shabbos, when Shabbos came in, it was a good clean as a salad bowl, no problem, you can use it even according to Rabbi Yehuda. Why? Let me explain. Oh, here's what I told you about Nolad, which means Here says Rav Yehuda says as follows. We all know the rule from Daf Mem Gimel till now. Whatever, whichever status a kli has, or a person has, or location has an erev Shabbos, determines its fate for the entire Shabbos. Oh, good. If so, everyone agrees. Adrabeh, that's not noilad. When Shabbos came in, what was it? A beautiful kli. Your wife was lighting the candles. You were saying lechadoidi, makadisle, makadisle. Shabbos came in, beautiful salad bowl, right? Then came your 3 years old Nicole and gave it a good treatment. Yeah, that happened 10 o'clock at night, right? But when Shabbos came in, it was a good kli. Therefore, it retains the status of good kli, even though it broke in the middle. Again, if it's smashed to smithereens, that's a different story, because bemes then really lost anything. And that would be maybe noilad, yes, according to one pshat and ritva. But once we still have a kli, it just changed on Shabbos from kli X to kli Y, so what? It's still a kli. And even if we, oh, what about Nolad? Everybody knows that Nolad and Shabbos, something new happened on Shabbos. It's all new thing. First of all, one shot is he doesn't believe in Nolad. Wow. Yeah. As we're going to see later, not everyone believes in Nolad. Or a more poshut shot, this is not Noilad. Noilad means something completely new. Like, excuse me, the tsoya that came out of the baby's stomach we had a few days ago, that's Noilad. It was completely new. The tsoya wasn't there, the excrement. It's a new thing. Yeah, and noilad is like, juice coming out of the fruit. But this is not noilad. That's the whole idea. Because it was a kli when Shabbos came in, yeah, changing from function X to function Y is not noilad. It's still a kli. The lady is the same lady. She comes to work. Instead of typing letters, she draws pictures. But it's the same thing all along. And if at the beginning of Shabbos it was called a kli, it's weiter a kli. That's not, even if you believe in Noiland, that's not Noiland. It's not a whole new thing, an egg that came out of the chicken, which is completely new. Even there, yeah. Moisiv of the Troy, Frekt of the Troy is asking from Ebrais and Beitza, which we saw before, to challenge what we just said. Masikin bekelim, then masikin bekib b'shivre kelim. Oh, what did we see in the Brais and Beitza? Masikin bekelim. What does that mean? Let's say you you want to make fire on Yom Tov. You're allowed to make fire on Yom Tov. Let's say for cooking, could be also for eating. So now masikin bekelim. You're allowed to take that salad bowl. Now you know it's with a wooden one. Yeah, you really need firewood, and you don't have firewood, and it's Yom Tov. Yeah, take the salad bowl and throw it into the fire. No problem. Why not? It's a kli. I can take the kli and throw it into the fire. Baltashkis. Oh, so the Gemara says later, Baltashkis the gufa yodif. I'm freezing cold, let's say, or I need the food. It's more important for me to have fire than to have that salad bowl. 10 shekels. So to be masik bekelim is fine. The ain masikin b'shivre kelim. Aha. You're not allowed to. What's masikin? And masikin b'shivre kelim means what? You're not allowed to feed the fire with broken pieces of kelim, okay? Because it's muktzeh. Those shivre kelim, by the way, and masikin b'shivre kelim, okay, I'll mention it later. Those pieces of broken kelim, yeah, that salad bowl smashed into two, you're not allowed to take it and throw it into the fire. Not allowed. Why not? Frek the Gemara and the Brisa. Let's use the pun. Let's break down the Brisa. Denishberu Amos. Why are you telling me you're not allowed to use broken kalim as firewood to feed fire? When did they break? Ilema denishberu me'erev Yom Tov. If you want to tell me that they were broken on Erev Yom Tov, they were broken before Yom Tov, why can't you use them? Eitzim be'almaninhu, which means if I know tomorrow is Yom Tov and I know I need firewood, people need firewood all the time in such societies, and the salad bowl breaks, it goes without saying automatically, without kavano, the Rishonim say, it becomes firewood, avada. So why are you telling me not to use it? Okay. It's even better than the bowl itself. Broken wood automatically means going to the fire, not even a question. El alav must be b'yom tov. Must be that this happened, the breaking happened on Yom Tov. Aha, Viktani, and yet it says the opposite of what you said, Rav Yehuda. Masikin bekelim ve'en masikin b'shivre kelim. Oh, you see what? You see that on Yom Tov, if I need fuel for my fire on Yom Tov. Now, I need to cook, I need to warm up, whatever. Yeah, I can take the salad bowl, no question. Why? It's a kli. I'm allowed. Who would say, by the way, I'm not allowed to use the bowl for firewood? Which Tana? Rabbi Nechemia, of course. Okay, that's fine. So we'll talk about it later. Unless your name is Rabbi Nechemia, which we don't pass can buy, I can change the function of the kli. I really meant that this should be my salad bowl, but I'm freezing cold and I need my Yom Tov cholent. I'll take the bowl, throw it into the fire, no shaila. And Shivrei Kelim, I am not, which broke today. On Yom Tov, I'm not allowed to take them and use them as firewood because they seem to be very muktzedig, or they seem to be what? To be noilod. Aha. In other words, we see, says Rashi, we don't view it as something which was, and when Shabbos came in, it was full and intact and glorious and good, and it continues. No, we say fakert, that because it broke on Shabbos, it is called noilod. Although it functioned for X and now it's functioning for Y, yeah, well, the Maisa, the Kli broke. It's a physical change and it's a functional change. And therefore, we see over there that everyone believes, yeah, at least over there in Beitza, that Shivrei Kelim on Shabbos is called Noilod. When do we say that the status remains the same? If there's no Noilod against it. Here, the Noilod trumps over that Indian of Migo of Erev Shabbos. Because it is Noilod. Because it broke, it changed the functionality and changed the reality. It's broken. Therefore, it's called Noilod. So what's the argument now in our Mishnah? Now let's go back to our Mishnah and try and plug it in. What's our Mishnah? Mechlokes Rabbi Yehuda and Chachomim. Oh, Ela, itma achitma. Therefore, must be that the statement by Rav Yehuda Shmuel, the same Amoiro, is a different statement. Omar Rav Yehuda, Omar Shmuel, Mechloikes shenishberu b'Shabbos. Yeah, Mechloikes if nishberu b'Shabbos. What we just said now, that itself is an issue of Mechloikes. If the kelim broke during Shabbos, on Shabbos, the Masova Muchenhu. In other words, those kelim, let me just, before we continue, if the kli broke to smithereens and you can't do anything with it, anything normal, anything functional at home, it's for sure nolad. Yeah, it's nothing. Nolad, muktzeh, it's either nothing or lomshane, it's not garnished. Now, but if it changed jobs, it was a nice salad bowl, boom, became broken and can be used now as a cover, Masova Muchanu. Tanakama says, one second, Tanakama says it's called Muchan. Muchan, by the way, is the antonym, the opposite of Nolad. Yeah. Or Muktzeh, both. Yeah. It's ready. It's the same. It existed as a bowl. It's changing hats. Now it's existing as a cover. According to Tanakama, it's not a problem of Nolad. Malsova noiladu. Malsova, which is Rabbi Yehuda says, no, that's noilad. If you change the functionality in the middle, that's called noilad. Aval me'erev Shabbos, divrei hakol mutorin. Period. Which means, if the kli broke on Erev Shabbos, and the automatic assumption is they used to live in a very recycling society in the times of the Mishnah and the Gemara, and when you have something that broke on Friday and can be used as a cover, we assume it will be used as a cover. It's called Muchan. Before Shabbos came in, it changed the job from a receptacle to a cover. Everyone agrees, including Rabbi Yehuda, that it's not a problem because it's not nolad. Again, it's very clear now, crystal clear to me, and I hope to you too. Rabbi Yehuda has one issue with nolad. Nolad, by definition, is only when it happens in the middle of Shabbos and Yom Tov. You don't have noilad from before Shabbos. What's noilad? What's noilad? Noilad means super muktzeh. The thing never existed, or never existed the way you wanted to, when Shabbos came in. And the Rabbi says, dos is noilad. Noilad is not only completely brand new, ex nihilo, came from outer space. Noilad also means it was X and broke into Y. It's also noilad. That's only on Shabbos. But on Friday, if it broke, then the change happened on Friday. Then it's not noilad. Noilad means noilad on Shabbos. That's all problem. Yes.
To make sure I'm following something in terms
Okay.
of in our Mishnah is Rav Yehuda Tana or Mora, and then when we say in the Gemara, we said Rav Yehuda. Are they same Rav Yehuda?
No. The Mishnah is a machloikes between Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda, who are Tanoim. Omar Rav Yehuda, Omar Shmuel is an Amora, which is the second generation Amora, and then Amora is explaining the Tanakh. Can be very confusing, I know. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
It's an Amora explaining the Tanakh. Now, you know, it is interesting though, because in Maseches Avos, there's an Amora that's mentioned on Meshub and Levi. It's called an Amora, and he's mentioned in Avos, and I think now the Mishnah. It was a borderline, like Rav, like, you know, late Anna, early Amora. Weiter. Menach, yeah, but that's for sure not Noilad, right? Because it's doing the same thing. That's not in question. Yeah, then they're a regular clean. Do whatever you want with it. It's because for all intents and purposes. Very nice. Now, Tani Chada. Now we're going to see, you know, let's test you now. We're going to see now three statements by Tanoim regarding the using the firewood on Yom Tov, and see which Tana said what. Tani Chada, one Tana taught us Masikin bekelim ve'en Masikin b'shivrei kelim, right? One Tana says Masikin bekelim ve'en Masikin b'shivrei kelim, which means what? As we said before, you're allowed to heat the fire, feed the fire with a whole kli, which is a kli, do whatever you want with it. You're not allowed to feed the fire with broken pieces that broke when? On Yom Tov. Yeah, because if it broke on Yom Tov and you cannot do the original Malacha, then it's Noilod. Noilod, don't touch it. Don't use it for anything, not for firewood either. But Tani number 2, the second Tana, Keshem Shemasikin Bekelim, Kach Masikin Beshiva Kelim. Tana number 2 says, do whatever you want. You can use what? You can use the Kelim, and you can use the Shiva Kelim as well. You can use the broken Kelim, broken pieces to feed the fire. We can guess already with this. Okay, yeah. V'tanya idach, third Tana, ein mesikin v'lo b'kelim v'lo b'shivra kelim. The third Tana says, no, you can't be masik, you can't feed the fire, fuel the fire, not even with the whole intact, full kli, and not kol shekenat with the shvorim. Who says what? Oh, Zog the Gemara. Let's just remind ourselves. Let's remind ourselves. Remember Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon bat Muktzeh from Daf Yutes, and later on in Daf Mem Gimel, Medalet Memei, around there. Let's just remind ourselves before we get to the final crescendo over here. Halacha Rabbi Shimon says, and Halacha is Lakim. Rabbi Shimon says, Ein Muktzeh, and we pass it to Rabbi Shimon, Ein Muktzeh. What do you mean Ein Muktzeh? Rabbi Shimon holds that even if you're miyached the kli for one purpose, let's say for schoiro, I'm not talking about Muktzeh Machmas Chesron Kis, not an expensive thing or very sensitive. Stam. I decided that I'm going to dedicate a bottle of wine. It's not muktzeh for my son's bar mitzvah in whatever 4 years time. Then what? According to Rabbi Yehuda, I'm not allowed to drink it. It's muktzeh. Muktzeh means set aside. And Rabbi Shimon says I am allowed to. V'chula, many other nefkaminas. Yeah, let's say I have some schoyer at home. I meant to sell it, but it's not something very expensive, or socks, whatever, something not so. Yeah, and then what? According to Rabbi Yehuda, I'm not allowed to move it. According to Shimon, you are. Oh, Mimele, now we're going to understand this triple machloikis. Ha Rabbi Yehuda, ha Rabbi Shimon, ha Rabbi Nechemia, which means, according to Rabbi Yehuda, what's Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yehuda believes in Muktzeh very much, in our Mishnah, by the way, and otherwise. Rabbi Yehuda believes in Muktzeh and Noilod. And therefore, he says, in the Kli itself, you want to take the Kli on Yom Tov and throw it into the fire, the nice salad bowl made in Sweden, throw it to the fire. Okay, no choice, no, what you call it, no baltashchis, because that's your real need. Go ahead and do it. But Shivra Kelim, no, Noilod. That's Noilod. Yeah, because Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah, what did he say? Noilod. He says that if a Kli broke, even if you can still use it as a cover, that profession change doesn't work in the middle of Yom Tov. That's called Noilan. You can't feed the fire with that. Rabbi Shimon, the opinion that said that it's okay to throw the broken piece into the fire as well as the real bowl, but even the broken is Rabbi Shimon. Why? Rabbi Shimon says that ain't Noilod. Rabbi Shimon does not believe in Muktzeh or Noilod. Wow. And Rashi says we could have also said Rabbi Meir, which is Art and Akama. We could say that too. Yeah, I don't know. Rashi says that, or the Rishonim say it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But they mention reasons why not. But Art and Nakama can say the same, right? Art and Nakama believes that if you have the broken piece that can be used as a cover, it's not called noilad. If it's not noilad, Givaldik, do what you want. Oh, Rabbi Nechemia, I gave you a hint. Don't say I didn't. Who is Rabbi Nechemia in this story? Rabbi Nechemia says he's so strict. Even the wooden salad bowl, you're not allowed to throw into the fire. You want to tell me that when they manufactured it in Sweden, and then they put the sticker like 10 letters and all kinds of funny dots of IKEA, you want to tell me that that salad bowl, yeah, was meant to be in the fire? What an insult! What are you talking? Of course not. The original purpose of the salad bowl was to have the salad inside and eat the salad and be healthy. You're changing the purpose of the kli from salad bowl into firewood. So says Rabbi Nechemia, no. What did Rabbi Nechemia say? Rabbi Nechemia said to Shmisha meyuchad loy. Rabbi Nechemia says everything on Shabbos you're only allowed to use for its original designated purpose. Yeah, I'm not allowed to take the spoon, the plastic spoon, and scratch my back because spoons are not for scratching; they're for eating. We're not pasking that, but that's Rabbi Nechemia. That's what Rabbi Nechemia says. Even a regular bowl, a kli, you can't go and throw into the fire. Very good, beautiful. Weiter, weiter. Omar Rav Nachman. Says Rav Nachman. Hani livni di shtayr mi binyona. You have bricks. Now, bricks, as we obviously all know, we just have to be reminded here, are, as opposed to stone, they are man-made. They're made for building. Hani livni di shtayr mi binyona. The livni, the bricks that remained from a building, which means you're doing some building in your house, or the kablan who's building a building, he overestimated the amount. He has some bricks left over. Those bricks originally were meant to build a house with. Yeah, Baruch Hashem, the house is very nicely built, and you have, I don't know how many, 5, 10, 20 bricks set leftover bricks. Now the question is, are they muktzeh or not? Let's see. Sharu l'tiltulinu. You're allowed to move them on Shabbos. Why? The chazel mizga alayhu. Because they are good, they're suitable to lie on them, to sit on them. Those, I'm sorry, those bricks are big enough and good enough for people to sit on or to lie on. Maybe you have many bricks together. And that's why it's okay and it's not muktzeh. What's the Chiddush says, the Ritva, they are kli, they're not stones. And even if I did not make a special yichud, this obviously happened before Shabbos, yeah? He finished the building before, he wasn't building on Shabbos. He built before Shabbos. On Thursday, Friday, he realized I have some leftover bricks. Here they're in the corner. I'm allowed to do whatever I want. Why? Because there, it's automatically understood that if they will not be for building, they'll be used for human use. Yeah, they'll be used for stamp, for usage, for sleeping on, sitting on, because that's very normal to do with the bricks. Maybe not today, maybe back then. And Mimela, they do that switch before Shabbos. Says the Ritva without yichud, without special yichud, as opposed to stones. Stones, you want to use a stone from the park, you have to be miyached. The stone didn't start its life as man-made; it's a piece of nothing. So you have to make a yichud. I want to use that stone. You have to say on Friday, I'm going to use it, or you have to use it as paperweight. But because those started as man-made product, the Mimela, they continue with another job. It's before Shabbos. It's not noilod. Sarginu, vadektzinu. Oh, what's sarginu? Let's say he started arranging them. You think this kablan is stupid? No, he's thinking of the next project. Avada. So now, wants to make more money, right? And be very honest with all the people. So then what? So now he has a leftover, bricks. He started arranging them for the next building. Then it's muktzeh. Why is it muktzeh? Could be one of two reasons. According to Rabbi Yehuda, which we don't hold by, according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's muktzeh. It's like the wine bottle for the bar mitzvah. Although those bricks right now are not used for building, he'll start building that building in a month's time. Yeah, let's say. Yeah, he's meyached them for what? For the next building, but the bets are now good for use. So that says Rabbi Yehuda that's muktzeh. Rabbi Shimon would say it's not muktzeh. So the Ritva says, why do we say over here it's muktzeh? We pass like Rabbi Shimon. Says the Ritva because those levanim are very sensitive, and if you start sitting on them, I imagine the brick is different to the way we Yeah, the bricks we have, maybe not as nice, not as good. If you start sitting on them and lying on them, and your kid will whatever on them, so then they will get dirty, they'll get crooked, and therefore it's muktzeh machmas on kiss. Once you designate it for your next building, you want the bricks to be nice, straight, clean. You makpid, and therefore you're not allowed to use it with tzad muktzeh machmas on kiss. Now comes an unbelievable new piece of information. Omar of Nachman, Omar Shmuel, yeah. Cheres ktano, you have a small piece of clay, a shard of clay. Mutar letaltel b'chotzer. You're allowed to carry it only inside the chotzer, because again, let's say you have a cheres. Let's be diplomatic, and now let's make this work according to all the Tanoim. Isn't it true? I want to ask you a question, Rabbi Sai. You have a small piece of cheres that was part of a jug. Now it broke and it can be a cover. If this happened before Shabbos, what do we say? Everyone agrees it's not muktzeh. Right? That job switch was done before Shabbos. Before we continue, actually, I want to give you a small introduction. We tend to think of muktzeh in a very objective way. It's not true. Muktzeh, I checked again, Shin Ches, Big Siman. Muktzeh many times is very subjective. In other words, many people would throw away all the jackets, and for the Oni who goes to the Gemach, it's not Muktzeh, it's a treasure. Right? One man's garbage, the other man's treasure. There's a big sugya in Olocha, Muktzeh lani, Muktzeh shirim. Yeah. Let's say there's an item less than 3 by 3 cloth, which Allah always recognizes as almost a nothing. Lola, a poor person, for him, a small piece of cloth is important. He's so poor, he needs it for I don't know, wiping his nose for something. Now comes a rich man to his house. For the rich man, it's muktzeh. Because for the rich man, this is considered as nothing. He'll throw it away. Yeah, says Mishnah Berurah, I checked it. There are many other combinations. But that combination shows it clearly. For the Oni, it's a cloth. For the Osher, it's just garbage. Don't even look at it. So for the Osher, it's muktzeh, and for the Oni, it's not. Question number 2: you have some neighborhoods, a lot of people have dogs, and in some neighborhoods nobody has dogs. So let's say you have a piece of meat that only dogs would eat. Is it muktzeh? Depends where you are. In Kiryat Sefer, it's muktzeh because there are no dogs around. Baruch Hashem, good for them. I'm happy for them. And there are no dogs there, which that's where it should be. And now what? And now for them, that piece of meat, which is only good for dogs, is muktzeh. In other neighborhoods, name and address withheld. Every other person walks with 5 dogs, and what? So that's prime meat, right? Very nice. So then what? So I'm telling you the truth. It's state in halacha. Yeah, it depends in the environment. Depends on what's going on around you. If the item is muktzeh, not muktzeh. Now we're going to see the location makes a difference regarding whether the item is muktzeh or not. Back to the Gemara. Amar Nachman Amar Shmuel. Cheres ktano, which can be used to cover a small kli, a small item. Mutar letaltel b'chotzer. You're allowed to what? You're allowed to cover. No, nach. Because in the chotzer there are many kelim, you're allowed to cover. Oh, you're allowed to carry it there. You know why? You know why? There, it's really usable. In the chotzer is where people used to live. Rashi says it about Basra. It's also much other places. In the chotzer, everyone used to cook and live and eat. When you have a lot of small kalim, this piece of shard of clay is really useful. So there, it's not muktzeh. Aval b'karmelis loy. Wow. Go to the Carmelis, to the forest, to the field, to the seaside, and there you find a shard of a piece of clay. It's muktzeh because there are no kalim. Wow, you hear what I'm saying? The geography makes a difference. The geography of the place means because it's a Carmelis and you can't practically use it in the seaside, in the forest, there aren't many kalim, so that piece of clay is not useful, and therefore it's muktzeh. Wow. The Rav Nachman Didei Oma, that was Rav Nachman quoting Shmuel. Rav Nachman himself says, Afilu bekarmelis, even in the Carmelis, a small piece of clay can be used, aval b'rshus harabim loy, but not in rshus harabim, and Rashi says why. When you want to sit nicely with your wife, or quiet conversation, or with your children, leisure time, Shabbos afternoon, Sunday in Chutz La'aretz, Would you go to a Shus Arabim? You go to the middle of, I don't know, Manhattan, or do you go to a quiet place? Quiet place. Carmelis is a quiet place. So Dafka and Carmelis, says Rashi, people like to sit around, and it's not nice to say, but the spit, and they want to cover the spittle with those kalim, with a little shard, with a broken thing. Mimela in Carmelis, although it's less useful than a chotzer, we still stretch it and we say Carmelis, it's still used over there. But the Shus Arabim, there are no kalim. It's a hustling, bustling of Shus Arabim. Nobody leaves his kli in the middle of Rechov Yafo, right? And people don't sit there so nicely in the middle of the road. And therefore, there, it's not called a kli. The Rove Omar afil b'Shus Arabim. Oh, Rove says, as opposed to what I said at the beginning, Rove says, when it comes to the functionality of kalim, we say that mito, not mitoch, but since in Reshus HaYochid and the Chotzer, this little piece of cover they can use to cover the bottles and the jugs, even though in Reshus HaRabim there are no bottles and there are no jugs, but it doesn't lose its status. He says here, Muktzeh is objective. If it's useful in one place, even though right now that same piece of shard is in the street, but because B'derech Klal it's useful in my house, it doesn't lose its name kli, and it's still called a kli. And halacha is like Rove. And now we see a story time. We have bidyuk 2 minutes for a beautiful, inspirational story. Rove is now following his own reason. The Rove story. Rove lived in Mechuzah with Rosh Hashiva, Beis Din. Rove once went in a Ritka, it's a type of street. It's one of the streets of Mechuzah, the city of Mechuzah. It vasoi misane tina. His shoe got dirty with dirt, with mud. Also Shame came the servant of Rove, Shokal Chaspa. He took a piece of shard, a shard of clay, the Kamechaperle, and he started cleaning the shoe. I'm not going to the issues of cleaning shoes, but you're allowed to take the outer layer, that's for sure. He cleaned the shoe. Rama Rabbanon Kala, the other Rabbanon that were the entourage of Rava, they started shouting at the Shabbos, Shabbos, Muktzeh, Omar. So now Rava got upset with them. Lamistai log miri migmar, not enough that they don't learn, they don't know halacha, migmar nami megamri. In other words, they also teach their mistakes to others. They're shouting in Tim Shabbos, they don't know the halacha. If I was right now in a chotzer, that piece of clay would be good to cover the kli, the vessel. So too for me, that's called useful. Right now it's useful, right? Yeah. And in the street it's used, even though it's usually not useful in the street, because in the house, in the chotzer it stays the same all over the place. Wherever you are, it's called a kli. That cover, that little potential cover, and since right now I'm using it, he's allowed to cover to wipe it. Yeah, that's it. Although I had a big question and I looked all over, it's a chokhmah, still a problem here because it's less than daladamis. How could he take it in Rosh Hashanah? Because that shard, yeah, he's still schlepping it from place X to where Rava was, unless he didn't schlep and he was mamash next to his shoe. You're not allowed to take something less than daladamis. So I checked in Otzar Chokhmah. And some more like achroinim say that because it's a machloikes, if less than daldamas you're not allowed to carry, though pashas you're not allowed to. It's the rabbanon. My understanding is it's a torch godel. You are allowed to carry less than daldamas. B'shus harabim. We'll see at the end of the masechta when it's a great need. I guess to walk with dirty shoes is very bad. My understanding, it's a great need. It's a torch godel, so you're allowed to move it less than daldamas. That's not the question of muktzeh. Thank you very much. And tomorrow, starting up, tomorrow's Thursday, Muktzeh Shabbos, we're starting Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, broken chovis. May we always have kelim shleimim, kelim be clear to accept the or of Chanukah. The or of Chanukah is a great or of Midas Ahoid. We'll be able to be moide to Hashem and moide admit and thank Hashem and Chanukah. Okay, so Bashur Chanukah schedule. We'll see you next week. We'll see day by day. Thank you very much. It's Shkoyach to Torah Anytime and our YouTube crowd.